Hi guys. So, of course my hair is sticking up. So, happy last day of February. We're going into March tomorrow, and this video is a little different. It's a little bit serious, which is not usually me. Today, I am doing a remembrance video. Today is my grandma's 101st birthday. She died last year on August 8th and was buried on my birthday, August 15th. So she was 106 months old when she died. And I have a candle lit for her, my Jane Austen candle, Strong Women. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about her. If it's not your cup of tea, don't worry about it. If you want to hear about my grandma, who I love dearly, then stay and listen. I will try to keep it short. My grandma was born February 28th, 1922. Hilda May Fritz in Lancaster County, PA. I believe she was born in Akron, because that is where I was told our family came from. It's a little iffy. You couldn't quite get a straight story. They were a bit closed mouth. My great-grandma, Stella, very closed mouth. She lived to be 6 days short of her 108th birthday. So, longevity runs on that side. Now she had, from what I could get, a tough childhood. Her parents had too many kids, took her to a farm when she was about 8 or 11 to lend her out to the farmers to work, and never came back for her. It was a common practice when, in the late 1800s, when you had too many children, and I don't know about the not coming back for you, but the farmers were kind and adopted her. So I don't know if the Fritz name, well, the Fritz name is her married name, but I don't know much about her. I've done Ancestry, and the weird thing is, they know who her father is, but they don't know who her mother is, which is a very odd thing. No information whatsoever on her mother. But they know who her father is. It's very odd. But anyway, back to my grandmother. So my grandmother married my grandfather, John. Oh, no. Married my grandfather, James Titus. Oh, here comes YouTube puppy. Here we go. Do you see her? There she is. She figured out I was recording. And she can probably hear that I'm a little emotional. She is my emotional support dog. So, married my grandfather, James Titus. I'm not exactly sure when. Let me see if I can figure this out. Because I have Ancestry pulled up, but I don't have a current membership. I only get the memberships when they're $1 for like 6 months. That's the only time I can afford them. Okay, hold on. Don't sit. Don't sit. I have pictures. But she's sitting on them. Don't sit on the pic. You're such a bad puppy. She doesn't believe me because I don't say it in the tone of voice. But, okay. So, her mother was Stella, my great-grandmother, and her father was John. But she married my grandfather, James, who was not a pleasant man. They both were in the army. My grandmother was a female serving in World War II. She drove an ambulance. That's all I know. I believe there's an inkling in the back of my brain saying England or France, but I cannot be held to that until I get another membership to Ancestry. So, but I'm very proud of her service, and she came back. So, when she came back, I believe she was only in her early 20s. Well, of course she was. 22 to, World War II, early 20s. So, they, I believe, were high school sweethearts or something. Anyway, from what I hear from everybody except my youngest aunt, who was very young when he was around, he was not a pleasant man, especially to my father. And he ate himself to death. They had to take a front parlor room window out and carry him out on a door. Yes. So, then, when she was in her later years, she met my pappy, Marlin Hoke, who was the most wonderful man I can imagine, besides my grandpa, Winnecombe, who is my stepdad's father, or was. I always speak in the wrong tense, but I love them both dearly, and they are both gone, but I remember them both fondly. And, hold on. Let me get a picture, which my dog sat on them, and I think I'm missing one. Are you hiding one? Are you hiding pictures? She's not going to let me find out. Okay. This is my pappy, Marlin Hoke. And that is the only grandpa I knew with my grandma. And this, where are my pictures? This is my grandma and my pappy together on their front porch. And that is how I remember them a lot of the time. My grandmother lived in a small Victorian. And it was always Grandma's house. And I am sad now because they are selling it. They may have already sold it. When I called the number that has always been her number and I heard this number is no longer in service, I had a mini breakdown. Well, just a crying jag, which I got over because you have to learn to pivot, I guess. But going into Middletown, Pennsylvania, which has always been Grandma's town, I know exactly which way to turn. It's automatic to get to her house, and it will no longer be her. Sorry. Emotions. It won't be her house anymore. And my dad, and when I say my dad, I'm speaking of my stepdad, the one I live with, said, we can always buy it. Or my sister, I don't remember which one of them said, we can always buy it. And we can't. But if she wins PCH, she's saying she'll buy it for me. And right now I feel like I'm going to cry. I'm sorry. It's just hard. It makes it real. I haven't been there yet to realize that my grandmother is gone. She is not there. But the fact that her house will not be hers or anyone in the family's, that I cannot just go in. But anyway, I'm going to show you the person who is my bio dad. And he is who I get my genetics from. And you will understand a little better why I am me. This is my bio dad. This is what happens when you say smile. And yes, I look like him. You will see it when we are next to each other. That is my grandmother's son. So, and I call him Daddy David, not to his face, but that is how we always referred to him instead of, hey dad, hey dad, hey dad, hey dad, because it got confusing. Because my dad, who I live with, has been around since I was 3.5, 4 years old. So he was my daddy. He has supported me. There were years when my bio dad was supposed to visit us once a month. And he would not show up even that once a month. He is much better now. Much, much better. But it was hard on a kid when he couldn't even show up once a month. So, but this is my pappy, my grandma, and myself in Harrisburg on the water. That's the Susquehanna River. I have been in the Susquehanna River. There are places where you can just go down to the shore and, go in, and when you're young, you don't think about snakes and what gets dumped in there and stuff like that, and you just want to go swimming. And then you get older and you're like, ew. And then this was my cousin's wedding. This, who is turning into ZZ Top wannabe, is my Uncle Jimmy. And then Popeye over here, of course, is my dad. And Grandma in the middle with her boys. My grandfather, my grandmother, had 4 children. My Aunt Joan is the oldest. And strangely enough, I cannot tell you if my dad or my Uncle Jimmy came next. Now, Uncle Jimmy is named after my grandfather. I don't know if he's a junior. I don't know if he's a junior. It's strange, but you would think he came next since he's named after him. But I strangely think my dad's older. Ooh, you know what? I have my ancestry up. Let me go to my family tree and see which one comes next on the family. I'm not thinking very clearly right now. My family tree goes all the way back to like the 1400s or 1500s. So, hold on. So, oh, you know what? It doesn't have all their kids. It only has my dad. That's because he's the only one who's important on my family tree. Yeah. But anyway, so you got Larry, Moe, and Curly there, or the Village People. I believe that was during the Village YMCA playing. And then, if you want to see the whole gaggle of the insanity of that side of the family, first let's do something cute. Okay, ready? You want to see cuteness. 1970s. Watch this. This one's me. Okay? That's my great-grandmother. That's me, and not even a year old. My cousin was born 2 months before me. There's my older sister. Look at these clothes. There's my grandmother, trying to get all of us kids in a row. My grandmother had 11 grandkids, and I believe 11 great-grandkids. Now, my cousin is still going. with making the babies. And when I say my cousin, it's the one who's 2 months older than me. He may have stopped, but I believe he was at 6. No, it wouldn't have been 11 great-grandkids then. It would have been 12, because my one cousin has 1, my sister has 5, and then my other cousin, I believe, had 6, so it would have been 12. Doing some math. But that is, let's get the glare off. That is the whole gaggle, my great-grandmother and all of us grandkids. And she's holding baby me. And then, I love this because they let my younger sister be in it. And my dad, my bio dad, would never let my younger sister come with us when he would take us out on that one day a month when he would take us out. And I said, can she come with? And he's like, she's not mine, because she is my half-sister. She is my stepdad's daughter. And that made me cry, because I didn't get it. She's just my sister. Whereas my grandmother, when we would go to her house for Christmas, would have a gift for her. She included her. And I loved her more for that. I did. So here's a picture with all of us. That's my crazy Aunt Joan. Everybody got embarrassed by her because they called her, crazy. Now, they say I look like her because the bad teeth, the overweight, the thin hair. Now, the thing about her crazy is she speaks her mind, and she doesn't let anyone shut her up. She is crazy. That is a fact. But you don't get embarrassed by your family so much so that you exclude them. It's not what you do. But if we look, there's my little sister, Sarah. You've all met her. Schnook. And who's holding her? My grandma. Thank you very much. And also, you notice the Asian girl in here. She's from my school. I went to an international girls' boarding school. It was in my hometown, but over the winter break, some of the international students couldn't afford to go home. So they asked some of the local students if we could have them in our homes. And this girl's name was Sachiko, a friend of mine. And so we brought her home with us. And when I went to visit my grandma, I'm like, Sachiko, come visit my grandma with me. And my family welcomed her with open arms. I miss Sachiko. I wish I could have kept in contact with her. This is my grandma when she was younger. What a doll. What a doll she was. Look at that hair. Now, when my hair got permed, it did not look like that. And then this is what she did every Christmas. The bows. Does anybody do this? She collected every bow from every present and then decorated herself. I absolutely loved it. I loved taking pictures from a young age. Excuse me. I absolutely adored cameras. And I have realized now, and my dad has been telling me this for years, use your mind to remember. Use it to take the picture. Because I was losing so much time enjoying the moment with my face behind the camera. And I use the camera still at pivotal moments, but I do not waste my time behind the camera. But I will always remember my grandma like this. But that is what I have for you. For my grandmother, Hilda Hoke, who made my life so much more special than it would have been with anybody else. And She would have been 101 today, but she lived a good, excellent, long life. And a candle for her. Thank you for listening, and I hope you had someone in your life like my grandma. All right, I love you. Bye.